This is a demonstration video for the enhancements that have been made in GeoSketch 3.0 for the texture face tool. The texture face tool will continue to operate as it did in the previous versions of GeoSketch, so that I can select a single face and use the texture face tool to adjust the texture on that face. I'll use the shortcut key to turn off the nadir image, and then I can use the arrow keys to rotate to a different aux view until this face of the building is not obscured by another building. Now here's where there's one enhancement to the tool, that I can hold down the shift key and move that whole polygon at once to get it into the correct position. And then I can still move individual vertices as in the previous version of GeoSketch. And I can also now select an edge and move both ends of that at once and move the individual vertices. So then I hit the tab key, and I've retextured that face. And as before, if you want to copy that face over to the other side, you can use the copy texture, and if you know your building is symmetrical, use that. Now another example of selecting faces to retexture with the texture face tool is we can look at multiple faces that are all textured with a single aux view. So I'll select this whole building and use the show mapping, and I see that all those faces that are in this direction were textured from a single aux view, which is this one. So what I'll do is I'll do Control Z to undo that, and now for the texture face tool, I'll select that aux view rather than selecting a face, and then I'll select the texture face tool, and now we can edit all of the faces that were textured from that aux view. If I hold down the Control key, it shows me all the faces, and as I hold down the left mouse button, I'm adjusting all of the faces at once. It would be useful if, for example, your camera model was off by a little bit. You could make the coarse adjustment for that error, and then of course you can go into the individual faces and move those. For example, take this bottom edge and move it over a little bit to change the skewing of that texture, and then when you hit the tab key, it'll focus in on the model of that area to show you what the texture looks like. But we're still editing faces, so we can use the up arrow to go to the next face. This is on the inside of that V-shaped building. You can also hold down the Alt key just to get context, so you can, in yellow, it shows the adjacent faces, so you can see their relative position. And we can grab this edge and move it and change the skewing, and perhaps move this edge over a little bit, and hit the tab key to accept that. Now we'll continue using the up arrow. In this case, we have a more complex face that's not a rectangle. We can grab the edge and stretch that face out, or we could grab the top edge and change the skewing of that complex texture. And hit the tab key. Now use the up arrow again, and again you see that this face is that back wall. I'll hold the Alt key down to see the context, and I'll use the left arrow key to switch to a different aux view. Actually, I want to go to the right arrow, and now we can adjust that individual face, move it a little bit, move this edge over a little bit more, and hit the tab key and retexture that. So that way we can edit multiple textures at one time. So you can select an individual face, or you can select multiple faces, or you can select an aux view and do all the faces associated with that aux view. And there's one more option. For example, this curved face of the V-shaped building. If we select that face and use the show mapping tool, some of the faces are textured from over here, one from up here, several from over there. What we'd like to do is make sure that they're all textured from the same face. So again, I'll undo that show mapping, and I'll see that I can see that curved wall from this view. So I'll select the curved surface, and then I'll hold down Control and also select the aux view that I want it to be textured from. Now when I click on the texture face tool, I can hold down the Control key and see all the faces are now textured from that aux view, and I can move them all at once to adjust them up here. And then I'll hold down the Control key and hit Tab to accept that. So now that curved surface has all been textured from one aux view, so you have a better contiguous texturing. So that concludes the enhancements to the texture face tool for GeoSketch 3.0.